I want to talk about probably my favorite 3-week period to fish, and give you guys some tips and advice on how to take advantage of it when there's more big fish shallow. And when I'm saying shallow, I'm saying like in less than 5 foot of water than any other time of the year. Now, the time that is during the late pre-spawn. This is going to be where the most big ones are shallow and catchable. Now, when the fish actually start spawning, I'm not a big advocate for putting a lot of pressure on spawning fish. And then another thing about spawning fish is like there's so many variables to that make a lot of those fish uncatchable, and a lot of those fish you don't want to catch because you don't want to disrupt their spawn. But the time of year where you have the best odds of catching a big one is when that water temperature is in the mid 50s. And this is usually about really 2 to 3 weeks before the fish start to move up shallow to get ready to spawn. Normally what you have, it really depends on the weather patterns that you have, because sometimes certain weather patterns can hold them back or moving forward. But to me, it's like when you have water temperatures in the mid 50s, and this usually occurs sometime in March in most lakes across the country. If you're down south, maybe a little bit earlier. If you're a little bit up north, a little bit more, it's going to be a little later. But for the main part of the country, in most major reservoirs, you're going to start seeing some mid 50-degree water temperature sometime in March. Could be the first part of March, could be the last part of March. Now, what happens here is in any particular lake, you've got the biggest population of big bass that are just cruising out in open water. They're in deep water, they're suspended, they're chasing shad in the middle of the lake. That's what all the spotlighters take advantage of. But during that 3-week period, when that water temperature starts to get in the mid 50s, the majority of those bass that are out there in open water that are normally, hard to locate and tough to catch prior to forward facing sonar, those fish move up shallow and they get on the bank and they get aggressive and they're ready to bite. That's why most of the big ones that you see caught all year long are caught during the pre-spawn. And guys, out of all the big bass I've caught in my life, bass over 7 pounds, I'm going to say that probably 75% of those fish have come during March when that water temperature is in the mid 50s. That's just when you catch a lot of good fish for the traditional shallow water bass fishing. Now, a couple different reasons for this. A lot of it has to do with the fact that those big females are starting to move up and they're wanting to feed in preparation for the spawn. The spawn takes a lot out of them. It uses a tremendous amount of energy, and a lot of those fish get shallow and they really gorge themselves on crawdads to build up protein for their egg sacs. Big gizzard shad